another Uniquely Average podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm James.
Matt.
And today's topic is going to be top 10 comic book movies. So basically, we all enjoy watching movies. These are some of our favorite types of movies. So we figured, why not do a list?
Yeah, we all enjoy it. I know initially when we were talking about this list that we would do a top five, but it became pretty clear, at least for me, fast, that five was kind of a harder list to make just because there was going to be a ton of movies missing the list. So we upped it to 10 just to have a better range for everybody.
Yeah, 10 was definitely the number we needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think my initial list, because I just went online, looked up movies, and then wrote them all down. My initial list was like 25, so cutting down to 10 was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Cutting down to 5 would have been even tougher.
Exactly. And like, my top five would have still been the top five, but I like to touch light on the other ones. It's funny when I was looking up games, do you remember the Batman, the Mask of the Phantom from back in the day? The cartoon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the names I wrote down. I mean, it was one of the first ones that got cut off when I was making the top 10, but...
That was a good one.
Yeah, dude, that movie was awesome, especially for like a cartoon or whatever you will with it. But yeah, so we're gonna start with James here today, and we're gonna start at number 10.
All right, well, number 10 on my list is Suicide Squad. I really enjoyed the movie. I have no idea what you guys thought of it, but
it was okay. The storyline I didn't really like, but like the Suicide Squad themselves, I thought was pretty cool.
Right.
There was a ton of negativity when that movie came out, I remember, and then I finally saw it when it was on, like, I don't know if it was Netflix or one of those streaming services where I finally saw it, and it wasn't like terrible. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I think what it is I was a little bit impartial to.
You're a fan of Big Willie?
I mean, I'm not a big fan, but
I thought he did good.
I
love
good.
Will Smith, but it wasn't his best role, but I thought he did good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just liked how everyone played together. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about it was good to me, good enough to make my top 10 list.
I mean, Harley Quinn was like the big star of the movie,
Yeah,
and I do think she did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought she was pretty good, actually.
Yeah,
Jared Leto as the Joker.
Not the best I've ever seen, but probably not the worst. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a love-hate with Jared Leto's Joker, I'd say. For me personally, it's I didn't dislike it or like it. I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Plus, another thing is, I remember before I saw the movie, everyone was going on, even the build-up to it, everyone was saying how Jared Leto as the Joker in that movie was going to be just amazing. And yeah, he did a good job, but then I also feel like he was only in the movie for like maybe a total 10 minutes.
Dude, after that movie came out, I read an article about how he's like, there was enough Joker filmed in that movie to make a Joker movie. And yeah, he's in that movie for like no amount of time at all. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. He definitely could have been in it more. I think it would have possibly made it a little bit better than it was.
Yeah.
But like I said, overall, that's my number 10. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, this is more of an opinion-based thing.
Well, obviously, I mean, it's all opinionated here.
Definitely enjoyed that movie. So Matt, what would you say is your number 10?
My number 10 is a movie called Watchmen. It's a movie based on a 12-part miniseries back in like the 80s. It's not a ongoing thing, but it was just one quick story, kind of interesting about superheroes that kind of, it's kind of in the future after they've kind of retired, and there's a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of a longer movie. It's directed by Zack Snyder, who's kind of has a history of kind of dragging stuff out.
It's definitely a long movie.
He did the Batman v Superman movie he did, and that one seemed kind of too long to me. Same with Justice League. I also thought it was a little too long, but it's a little raunchier one. It's good though. It took me 2 times to watch it, but the second time I liked it a lot more.
I'd have to agree with it 2 times. I definitely watched it one time, thought to myself, wow, this is a really long movie. And then someone convinced me to watch it again, and I actually really enjoyed it the second time around.
Yeah, actually, I went with Matt to the midnight showing of Watchmen, and it was way too long. And I mean, personally, there was a lot of blue penis in that movie for me.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree with that as well.
And then just for it being a midnight showing, and I think it runs like 3.5 hours, it was just, I was ready to get out of the theater at that point.
It's definitely a darker comic book movie. It's not something for the kids.
Yeah. I really liked it. And, what is it, the Rorschach? Is that his name, the character?
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was like a really cool character. And
He was
It's
very
like
dark.
it's like around like the Cold War time, kind of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
You gotta, and like I said, like, cause you don't really know what's going on unless you read the comic book. I really had no idea what was going on until the end, so that's why when I watched it the second time, it helped a lot. So
I will say that movie has one of the coolest opening sequences I've ever seen in a movie.
It's definitely
Sound of Silence
yeah.
by Simon and Garfunkel, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
I like
no.
the soundtrack too.
Yeah, I think that was really cool.
It's my number 10.
Yeah, overall, it's a good movie.
Yeah. Didn't make my list, but it was definitely on the short list. But
Well, speaking of your list, Chris, what's number 10 on yours?
number 10 for me would also have to be kind of not like a bigger comic book. I don't even know if it's still going on. I looked it up, so it was, so I guess to qualify for the list. But my number 10 is V for Vendetta. A couple of years ago, Natalie Portman, Hugo Weaving. I don't really know how to say that guy's name. Mr. Smith.
Yep.
But just the overall movie, it's a little darker. It's not rated R like Watchmen or anything, but it is a little darker. I just really like the whole storyline in it. I think Natalie Portman is like an excellent actress, and I think she did a really good job in that movie. And a lot of action, and also other than the action, it's like a overall really cool storyline, which is really what I'm looking for in any of the movies anyway.
It's more like in those oh gosh, I can't think of the word of what kind of society it is, but it's basically where like the government is kind of controlling the people, and this guy V, who was he was being tortured and experimented on, he decides it's time to give that power back to the people, and he does it in some really cool, interesting ways, and it just pisses off the government, and they're trying to find him, and he's just so slick, and he wears a mask, and he's
the one character
cool
is like the one character like has his own TV show. He's like a late night talk show, and then he kind of thinks what V's doing is he kind of like agrees with it and thinks it's funny, and then he does a whole skit on it, and then next thing you know, the government's breaking down his door and beating him up for it, and I just like that whole aspect, like you said, like the government's kind of taking over, and at a certain point, the
people how to live.
Yeah, and it's like the people have decided to fight back behind him leading the example. I really did enjoy that movie a lot.
The storyline makes that movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with you on that.
And when it comes to comics, like I said, I never read any of these comics for V for Vendetta. I haven't read a lot of comics, but that one I was shocked to see it even qualified, and once it did, it was a shoe-in for me. Love that movie. I think that's done by the people that did The Matrix, if I'm correct.
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of all their work, but I really did enjoy that one. So,
okay.
What about you, James? Number 9.
Number 9 on my list is a movie that I didn't see right away when it came out. Actually, I think Chris kind of convinced me to see it. Ant-Man. That was number 9 on my list.
It's interesting.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the movie. I can't think of who the lead actor, what his name is.
Paul Rudd.
I thought he did a really good job in it.
I love Paul Rudd.
I'm never a big fan of him, to be honest with you.
He's awesome in Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
He's good, but in this movie, I think he did really well. I don't know, something about him just kind of
virgin. Paul Rudd I think he's really funny, which helped because he did add some really good comic relief to it.
I think my favorite character in the Ant-Man and Ant-Man's Wasp movie is his friend. I can't think of his Michael Payne.
Oh,
I don't know if that's his real
something like that.
Dude,
yeah,
that dude is
he's
funny, man.
He's funny.
I think he
in
steals
the
the show for me,
he
dude.
definitely is super funny in the second one.
But in that movie Crash.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, he's, I don't know. I was never really a fan of Hank Pym. Like, I read a lot of comics, so, I mean, actually, in the comics, Hank Pym is Ant-Man, but in the movie, it's this other guy that Hank Pym makes the suit, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I wasn't really a big fan of his character in the comic books, especially because in the comics he's kind of a low life, but I'm not gonna get into that. But I thought the movie was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It didn't make my list. It's one of those movies that I enjoy, but Dad used to say to us growing up, there's the 10% of movies you really like, then there's 80%, or then there's 80% that you would just say are movies, and then 10% of movies that you hate. That would fall into the 80% for me. It was a movie. If it's on TV, I'll watch it, but it's not gonna be on my
Clearly,
list.
you guys didn't enjoy it as much as I did. Not a big deal though. But I guess it brings you to Matt. What's number 9 on your list?
Number 9 on my list is it's a comic series written by Frank Miller, who's I think he's one of my favorite writers. It's called Sin City. It's really cool. It's kind of set in that I don't even know how to say the word. I never know if I say it right. It's Noir. Noir.
Is it noir?
It's a style of like writing or movies where it's kind of like that old school gumshoe type, setting with like cops and kind of like mafia-esque kind of thing, and it's set in this town, Basin City, and each story is different. The first movie has 3 different stories based off of 3 of the stories that he wrote, and I just thought it was so cool because like if you just flip through one of the comic books and then you kind of watch the movie, you'll see that they basically just copied and pasted it. If you read it like word for word is how it's set, is how the characters speak, like scripted. The way it's in black and white, just like the comic book. Some of the scenes are they look exactly like they look on the comic book page, so it's kind of cool because it's like you just take the comic book and you turn it into a movie, and it's I don't know, the way the dialogue and the script is just so well put out to me. I really like it a lot, and it's got a lot of my favorite actors like Bruce Willis. Uh,
It's definitely filled with actors, isn't it? It's got the first one for sure has. I like the guy, but I don't think he does much anymore. Josh Hartnett, yeah. I don't even think he was in the first one that much. It was more for the second one, which he didn't really even have a role in that, if I remember. I really like the directing of the movie. I think it looks cool, and like you said, like they'll do like the splats and stuff, kind of like it was a comic book. I think what the one dude turned into was super weird. I mean, it's definitely not a movie for everyone.
It's another darker one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it's rated R definitely.
Yeah, this is one on your list that I definitely would have to agree with. Like that, I'm not a big fan of. I've seen it once or twice, I think, but I'd have to agree that it definitely is cool that like, how you said the comic kind of is exactly how the movie is. There's not many movies that are similar to how the comic actually plays out or is scripted. They always seem to change everything and make it a little bit more mainstream for the movies. So that's cool for sure.
Yeah, I definitely will say I liked the first one 100% more than I liked the second one.
Yeah, the second one was very good.
And the first one I'll say is like with Ant-Man for me personally. It's a movie. If it's on and I'm bored, I might watch it, but just didn't really do it for me.
What you got for number 9 then?
My number 9 is it's Kick-Ass. I think it's put out by Marvel Comics. I looked up, or one of their other studios, but I love Kick-Ass. The Kick-Ass 2, I don't like at all, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
They could have just left it at the
Yeah,
first one.
I think
sure.
Kick-Ass is awesome. There was no way it wasn't going to be on this list. I'm not a huge Nicolas Cage guy, but I think he was really good in that. I like the guy that they got to play Kick-Ass. Hit Girl's cool. And for me personally, like one of my favorite scenes in like any movie would be when Kick-Ass and Big Daddy are getting set on fire and Hit Girl goes in to like save them, and then like she puts on the to see in the dark, the night vision.
Yeah.
And then like while like Big Daddy's burning, he's like, go to Robin's cave. And she knows like what that means, what to do with like the flashing light and everything. And I could watch that whole scene over and over. But the movie as a whole, I think is awesome. I think it's comical at parts, and
it's cool that it's like a comic book movie. I guess like if you read, it's a comic book about comic books. Like the character,
how it's played is
the
cool.
Character is a guy that's like obsessed with comic books, and he just decides one day, oh, I can do this. I just gotta
I'm gonna be a superhero.
He buys some random wetsuit online and decides he's going to be a superhero, but he kind of just gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then they have to put a bunch of like metal plates in him, right?
Yeah.
So then
he becomes like
kind of where he can tolerate pain and stuff.
Right.
And who doesn't want to be a superhero to an extent? You know what I mean?
It's relatable. It's relatable for sure. I do enjoy the movie Kick-Ass. We talked a little bit before we started this podcast, and I said that it didn't quite make my top 10, but it would probably be number 11 on my list. I'm glad to see it's not super high on your list. So your list is a little bit realistic, but
dude, that movie's awesome.
It deserves to make the list. I can see why you have it in there.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely a good movie.
All right, so then that's we're going to bring it back to you, James, number 8.
All right. Well, number 8 on my list is Thor Ragnarok.
Good one.
Wow, you agree with one finally.
Yeah.
But nah, I really like that movie a lot, actually. It's been on, I want to say, Netflix recently.
Yeah.
And I've watched it 1 or 2 more times since I've seen it in theaters. And I saw it twice in theaters, I want to say. So I've seen it a few times. Each time I just really enjoy it. I think Thor is really good in it. Honestly, I love the whole storyline. And
the first 2 Thor movies were just kind of to me.
They were not great.
I was just going to mention, can we at least talk about how those are like the worst 2 movies?
Ragnarok they really stepped it up with that.
Ragnarok saved the Thor franchise, in my opinion, for sure.
A lot.
When the Thor 3 trailer came out, I could care less.
Yeah.
People that saw it and said they liked it, I could care less. Thor and Thor Dark World, I think, are 2 of the worst movies
Marvel movies. Let's not go worse movies.
They're awful, bro.
They're all right,
Okay.
all right. They're not great.
I don't like them, and I had no interest in Thor Ragnarok because of them.
You've seen it now, though, right?
I've seen it.
Do you enjoy it?
It's a lot better than those two.
I love too that they finally got the Hulk to start talking
Yeah.
in
Yes.
that movie too, because there's always the Hulk smash Hulk thing, but like I kind of like him to talk a little bit.
A little bit makes it more relatable.
He's still kind of dumb and talks kind of slow, but at least you can like talk with him a little bit.
Right.
So I like that.
I liked how it by having Hulk there, it kind of integrated into the World War Hulk comic book series, which you actually made me read, and awesome.
It is.
I mean, it doesn't really go into it in full detail about it all, but it's there, and it's a cool thing.
I've never.
It's awesome, dude. I really don't read comics, but Matt was like, "Dude, you gotta read this," and I did.
I'll have
And
to read this.
it was awesome. Like,
I think I still have the graphic novel of it all together.
I was like waiting for the next one to come out and stuff. It was good.
Okay.
Good choice.
All right, so Thor Ragnarok. What was that, number 8 for you?
That was number 8 for me. So what's number 8 on your list, Matt?
Number 8 for me is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. We know there's
Tobey Maguire.
There's so many different Spider-Man franchises, so I gotta make sure I'm saying it right. That this one is the one titled The Amazing Spider-Man, and it's a sequel. That's the one that was done by Sony. It plays, in my opinion, I think the best person that's played Peter Parker so far was Andrew Garfield. So the first one was really good too, but the second one was even better to me because it had Gwen Stacy, which is a character that they don't do a lot in the Spider-Man movies. They kind of just stick to his other main love, Mary Jane. But this one, you get to see a lot of Gwen Stacy. You get to see their relationship get together, and then you get to see in comic book ways, one of the biggest events in Spider-Man's life, when the Green Goblin kills Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man just goes nuts. And they executed it pretty well, I think, in that movie. It happened almost exactly the way it happened in the comic book, so I thought that was super cool. I think Jamie Foxx did a pretty good job as Electro. I wasn't really expecting it, but I think he did pretty good. And then the Green Goblin, so I liked it a lot. I think the action scenes were way better. It was kind of darker than the other ones. The Tobey Maguire ones were kind of dorky to me.
They were very dorky.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
especially Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, these Spider-Man movies, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I think took this whole Spider-Man franchise to a whole nother level. If I have to say,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I agree with you on that. It didn't make my list because I just didn't really think of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it would have anyway. I like that movie a lot, and that movie is universally hated. I'm pretty sure. I don't get it. I don't get why Andrew Garfield's so hated as Spider-Man.
I don't get that either.
I thought he did pretty good, even in the first one.
Tom Holland's okay, but I think Andrew Garfield is the best.
I was ready for Spider-Man 3 because it definitely set it up. Where Rhino showed up with Paul Giamatti and stuff.
Sinister Six.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was I thought they was going to do good things there. I don't understand the hate for that movie at all.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree.
That's my number 8.
All right, so then we're coming to me for number 8.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, we're going to go to one of the newer movies coming out. It's a movie the first time I saw, I have to admit, I disliked it quite a bit, actually. But it's Black Panther. I saw it. It wasn't at a midnight showing. I went with you, James, actually, and my brother-in-law.
Haven't seen that one yet.
It's the first time I saw it. It was Black Panther's the best movie ever for Marvel and like that. And for me personally, when I start hearing that kind of stuff, you're just gonna make the movie bad for me.
Well, right. I think it gives you those assumptions. I think when you hear Black Panther, everyone was just like, no, this is the best Marvel movie that's ever been made. And I think it gave it way too high of expectations.
Exactly.
It's a good movie, and I really enjoyed it. But to put it as the greatest Marvel movie ever, it didn't quite meet those expectations for me.
No, I don't think it did either. But I do like it. I do stand by Kilgrave is by far the most intriguing part of the movie.
Yep.
I think he does an excellent job. I think it's Michael B. Jordan that plays him.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
I think he's an awesome actor, and I'd like to see him in more, he's not going to be in more Marvel movies now, but it'd have been cool for him to be.
I'd have to agree with that. I definitely would say that I saw it with you. It was good the first time we saw it. I definitely saw it again, and it's one of those movies where you see it the second time and it's a little bit better for you. I would have to say that happened for me. I honestly could have thought there was going to be a little bit more action in it, a little more fighting scenes. The ending scene's not bad. Don't get me wrong. The big fight, it was good, but I guess I just expected a little bit more for it being the best Marvel movie in everyone's opinions.
Yeah, I mean the overall story and the arc of it is really good. I like the director. It was like a kind of a newer director, I believe. I kind of like the tone that he set for it. Like when spoiler, when Kilgrave takes over for a little bit, they got the camera kind of like going upside down, trying to show that their world was all flipped. Thought that was like a really cool touch. I like the action scenes that were there were cool. Another spoiler that like really bothered me, and I don't know why, is if you follow the Marvel movies, it's pretty clear there's a certain someone you know is in that village, and he just doesn't ever show up when the whole village is gonna crumble and they're gonna lose everything forever. You think you'd go get this guy to help you in the battle, and they never did. I know it's like, why is he complaining about that? But that is a complaint I had with it. But I do very much enjoy Black Panther.
Yeah, and you said you haven't seen it, Matt?
I have not.
You need to check it out.
It's on, yeah.
Yeah, whether you think it's the greatest ever or not will be yet to be determined. But I think it was a good movie and it was definitely worth seeing.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's my number 8. So then we're gonna take it to James. Back to James for number 7.
All right. So touching on a franchise that Matt recently just touched on, the Spider-Man movies. My number 7 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought Tom Holland did a really good job. It's definitely a matter of opinion on how you felt, whether you liked him or you didn't like him. I just thought he added a little bit of a, not quite as nerdy as like Toby, but definitely slightly better young vibe to it. I don't know. I thought he did a good job. One of his first movies I'd ever seen with him in there. Definitely thought he was pretty good though.
It was okay. I liked it. I mean, it was good. One thing I really thought was cool was how like he got that super cool suit from Tony Stark.
Yep.
Like that's not really something that happens in the comics, but it was cool. It gave him
his friendship with Tony Stark is kind of something I really enjoyed because I am a big fan of
anything with
movies.
Robert Downey Jr. is good. It's just going to amplify it. All right,
exactly.
That guy seems like he's really cool. But
and I don't know. I thought his suit was really cool. He even had his own like Jarvis. It was that girl that he could talk to,
which was really cool.
And
I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. It's crazy because that dude's like 24 or something.
He's young.
No, he's like 24. He's playing like a 16-year-old.
I mean, yes, but he's like a young actor. Yeah. How old was Tobey Maguire when he played him?
But I think he does a good job. I think it's cool how like he still makes mistakes. You know, he's like a high schooler learning the way. I wanted to like that movie so much. I went to the theater like, dude, this is going to be my favorite Marvel movie ever. I don't know why it just fell flat for me. I did not really care for that movie
I think
at
it's
all.
because you had too high of expectations for it. A Spider-Man movie being the best Marvel movie?
Dude, Spider-Man's cool, man. I used to grow up.
He's cool. I mean,
me and Matt used to watch the little cartoon and everything.
That's part of the reason why it's on my list is just because like I grew up watching
the nostalgia.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But it's like, that movie just fell flat for me. I didn't really like any of the fighting scenes. I didn't think they were that cool. The storyline, and then like hiding that the one girl was Mary Jane till the very end. Like they did that, right? Yeah. At the end, she's like, "Oh, just call me MJ."
But I think everyone knew.
Oh, it was known before the movie was even out. But it's
but
just like, okay, we get it. Just tell us who she is. And I don't know. I'm not a huge the dude that played Valkyrie fan. Is it Valkyrie even? Michael Keaton. Not a huge Michael Keaton fan, if I'm gonna be honest with you. But all right, so that was your number 7. Let's move on to Matt.
What's number 7 on your list, Matt?
I got X-Men 2.
Okay.
The first X-Men movie was pretty much the one that opened the door to comic book movies in general. They were kind of on the downslope. Marvel hadn't made anything in years. DC was kind of plummeting because their Batman franchises just got awful. With Arnold Schwarzenegger going around telling people to cool off, take a chill pill.
You didn't like that movie?
I'll tell you what. I enjoyed the Arnold Schwarzenegger Iceman puns. You can go on YouTube and watch a video where it's like 8 minutes long of him.
Jim Carrey as the Riddler was awesome.
But it just I don't know. At that point, at that point too, Marvel had even declared bankruptcy. Like as a comic book reader, I was asking myself like, am I even gonna have comic books anymore? And then the first X-Men movie came out, and it just like blew the doors wide open. It was okay as an X-Men movie, but then the second one, the sequel, they really like stepped it up a whole lot better. Like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine,
phenomenal.
He is Wolverine.
Famke Janssen as Jean Grey. I love that James Marsden guy as Cyclops. You know,
he's a guy I wish had a better career, if I'm gonna be honest with you. But
what's his name as Xavier? I don't know. It had a ton more action than the first one. Like the first one was good. It was just setting it up. But then the second one, like I don't know, Magneto kind of teaming up with the X-Men to go up against like the Stryker Force, and I don't know, you got to see a lot more Wolverine action in it. So
Yeah, one thing that's nice about the X-Men movies is just how many like cool characters they have. You know what I mean?
I think that
Yeah.
almost like hurts them though. I don't
know.
think they've figured out
They
how
had
to.
that opening scene where Nightcrawler like busted into the White House and like took out every one of their Secret Service people
I'm gonna have to re-see that.
and
one.
almost killed the president. And
Yeah.
Nightcrawler is one of my favorite characters. So
I really enjoy the X-Men movies, and I think part of why I enjoy them is the fact that they have so many cool different mutants per se. They all have those cool abilities. I think that really does change things.
and this one and the second one introduced a lot more characters.
Right,
So
and
that's
I
why
guess
liked it
compared
too.
to the first one, absolutely, I'd have to agree
But-
with that.
That's my number 7.
All right, well, what's number next one on your list, Chris?
All right, we're gonna go DC here for a minute. Don't have a ton of those on this list. It's a little bit of a newer one, and it's gonna be actually Wonder Woman. Didn't really have high hopes for it when I saw it. Saw it in theaters. It was out, nothing else was out, so I went and saw it. And I don't know, man. I actually like really like that movie. I'm also a really big Chris Pine fan.
Yeah,
so
he's cool.
yeah, he's
He
another
hasn't done
person.
anything in a while either.
Yeah,
It's
he's
kinda-
another one of those people. I was like, damn, he should have like a better career than he has. But
Yeah.
it was like set in World War One. I'm pretty sure it was, and I just thought like the whole storyline. I thought it was really cool put together. The girl that plays Wonder Woman, I think she did like a really good job.
She's awesome.
Yeah, the fight scenes in that I think are like excellent. Actually, like I don't know what it is about it to be honest, but I think they're like really cool, really well done fight scenes. There's like a twist, if you will, that I called the second it came about. So I mean, other than that, but the movie's awesome. I think it's the best thing DC has going for them. And if I was like at the helm of DC, I would try to like quit this Justice League crap right now and focus on making Wonder Woman like their main like star, like Iron Man is to Marvel, and then create around that. Have you guys even seen Wonder Woman?
I have not personally.
I started watching it and I fell asleep, not because I was bored, but I think I was just really tired. Because I really liked everything that I was seeing so far.
One thing that was terrible was the girl from House of Cards, Robin White, trying to have like a Russian accent or something. That was pretty bad. But other than that, like I think it's a really good.
Yeah, I mean, with you talking it up this much, I'm definitely gonna have to go and see it. I don't know why I haven't seen it. Just don't think it's been on one of those movies that I've really been in the front of my mind, I guess. But I'll have to go check it out now that it's on your list.
Yeah, it's good, man. All right, let's take it on to number 6.
Well, number 6 for me is the original Avengers, the very first one. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that
They did a good job.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job. Again,
You like it too?
Yeah, it's not on my list, but it almost made it, and it's the way like from the beginning to end. I thought it was so cool how like they kind of the way they brought the team together. You
Exactly.
know, like there's that first part where who was it like. It was like Thor. It was like Thor and Captain America were fighting in the woods, and then Iron Man kind of swoops in. So they're kind of fighting each other, but they're like kind of like starting to grow their relationships.
Right. I don't know. Again, with the amount of people that are in it, I mean, sometimes that can hurt a movie, but I think it made this movie, and I think it makes the Avengers movies as a whole. I really enjoy Iron Man in it. Tony Stark, I think he does a phenomenal job. Thor, I think he does really well in it, outside of him being not the greatest in Thor 1 and 2. But honestly, I thought it was a really good movie.
And like the build up, like that final fight scene, I remember that was one of the coolest ones. Like building up to that point, seeing all the Marvel movies that had come out, I was thinking like, wow, this is the best fight scene they've made yet, because they're just getting swarmed by this armada of like aliens and giant ships, and like they just pretty much destroy the whole city, but they take them on, and the fight scenes were really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked the fight scenes a lot in that movie. No comment, Chris?
I don't like that movie at all.
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Right.
I don't get it. I think maybe it's me. I know everybody loves the Avengers. I really did not like that movie. I can't like sit here and tell you 100% why. Hulk smashing Loki back and forth, and then the whole theater cheering, laughing and stuff. I hated that for some reason. So you can call me like a negative person or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I did not like that movie. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint it. Maybe I got to rewatch it now that.
I would say rewatch it. I mean, if you think that way, that's totally up to you and that's your opinion. But I don't know, check it out again. Let me know if you think of the same way again.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys are both talking highly of it. He's talking about it being like a really cool fight scene at the end. So I don't really remember that. So I got to check it out for sure. But I don't know. I can't really give you an exact reason why, but I do not like that movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Fair enough.
I know that's gonna be like what, but
yeah, no, you're gonna get
is
negative
what it
comments
is.
for that one, but All right, Matt. What's next on your list? What's number 6 for you?
I got Civil War.
Okay.
The third Captain America movie.
Absolutely.
Which could be the best comic book series.
Yeah, they couldn't make it as good as the comic book was. I definitely recommend anyone listening to check that out. It's so good. But they did their best, and there's still like a civil war. Basically it's like kind of the government trying to pass an act saying that the superheroes have to register and kind of work for the government.
What are the accords called again?
The
Geneva. Or something
No,
like
so
that?
I'm
That's
not
what it
sure. No,
is.
it's not that. But it was cool too because it was able to, I like that, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, they had their little squaffles. They were button heads. That's kind of how it happens in the comic book.
My issue with that is the fight wasn't as good as I thought it was.
No, the fight wasn't.
I loved the fight with Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man.
Well, that fight, yeah, but I'm talking about the fight at the airport.
Yeah,
where it's only like 5-on-5.
Yeah, that's not gonna be what the comic was like. War.
It was like all the
even if it was
superheroes
just those
split up.
5-on-5, I would have expected it to be better with the people that were there. I mean, it didn't exceed my expectations.
It wasn't. Yeah.
I think Ant-Man got way too much show in Civil War.
Agreed.
With the going
Agreed.
big.
He got a lot of the majority of that action scene was him being ginormous and kind of taking over.
But I still think it was also like an important movie too because it did introduce a lot of people. It brought Black Panther, Spider-Man into the Marvel universe, which branched off there. So.
Which is good.
Yeah,
I mean, it was necessary. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie. The fight scene just didn't quite do it for me, I guess.
Maybe I'm more biased because I like the Civil War comic, but because I can see what you guys are saying, how it's not like the greatest. But that's number 6 for me.
All right, Chris. What's next on your list?
Number 6. I could be wrong, but this might be our first crossover, and I believe it's with James. Thor Ragnarok.
Yep, that would be a crossover.
Absolutely love it. When that movie was coming out, like I said earlier, I had no desire whatsoever to see it.
I
think my sister-in-law bought it on Amazon or something like that and let me watch it. I loved it. And then I watched it again because I was like, what? I don't like this movie. Like, I hate the Thor movies. Watched it again. Loved it again. I don't know what it is about it. I like how, like, the new director just changed Thor, like, completely.
Oh, I was gonna say drastically.
Just from the beginning of the movie, like, it just starts off so, like, quick. It starts off with Asgard just getting rocked,
destroyed, right?
You're just like, wow, Thor just got his stuff handed to him. And
that movie's like a huge amount improv.
Really?
Did not know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong there, so don't take that to the grave. But I'm pretty sure I read something that says that movie's a lot of improv. I think that movie's funny. I don't think
the comedy aspect is, I think, a little bit underrated in that movie.
Yeah, I love Jeff Goldblum.
And I have issues when some of these Marvel movies try to play to the 12-year-olds and stuff with their comedy that I don't think's funny. I don't like it. But in Thor Ragnarok, it felt just so natural.
That's the best way of putting it. I'd have to agree 100% there.
Dude, the little rock guy who actually is the director of the movie. I didn't know if you knew that.
I did not know
that. That dude cracks me up, man. I like that guy. And then just the whole adding Hulk, like Matt was saying earlier, that he talks in this one. And I actually liked the new love interest that Thor gets throughout it. And just start to finish, I think it's action-packed and it's funny. So,
yeah, it's a good one.
So then, now we're gonna be on our top 5, and it's gonna be on James.
All right.
It's gonna get real.
Rounding out my top 5 at number 5 is a movie that I thoroughly enjoy. With it obviously being in the top 5, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Good choice. That was a tough one to make it to my list.
I
number
really
11 for me.
Chris Pratt's phenomenal in it, in my opinion. I thoroughly enjoy the first one compared to the second one.
Yeah.
I think the second one they just tried to kind of continue off on the first one's success, and
they almost try to recreate that entire
the entire movie almost in a sense. It's not as good, but the first one is phenomenal in my opinion. The storyline was really good. I think the acting in it was really good. Big fan of Groot. I know he doesn't really say anything, but he just, I don't know, he adds.
I'd like to collect that paycheck.
He just adds something to the movie, man. I don't know, it's something good. And
the characters were all super awesome.
Yeah, I really liked the characters. I really liked the storyline. Just the whole movie as a whole was good. I don't know.
One line that like always it still makes me laugh to this day is when like Chris Pratt says he says like a joke or something to Drax and he like yells at him about it and he was like, dude, I was just joking. And then the Rocket's like, he's completely literal. Everything will go right over his head. Like any kind of joke you try to make will go right over his head. And he goes, nothing will go over my head. I'm too fast. I will catch it.
I like when
Like the characters all they're all so different and they work so well together.
Yeah,
Dave Bautista
really
did a good job with Drax, I think. I like when it's when they're in jail and Chris Pratt's trying to help the Gamora and he does like the slit your throat
Yeah,
sign.
that's what I'm saying. He takes everything too literally.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't.
But then he looks at Drax's friend and he's like, you know what this means. And he's like, yeah. And then Drax looks at him and he's like, no, I don't know what that means. I don't know that.
Yeah.
It's good.
The
I like
whole jail
Chris
scene
Pratt.
is one of my favorite scenes. When they bust out, I like that scene a lot.
Which one?
When they bust out of the jail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like telling, and the Rocket, tells him, I need that guy's leg, and he gets it to him. And he's like, I was just joking, man.
Right,
like, dick.
I can't believe you took the dude's leg. But no, it's super funny. I think the action's there.
I really like the villain in that one.
Yeah, I like that
Something
movie.
the Destroyer.
It's number 11. And that movie also introduced Thanos, if I'm correct, too. So
pretty
that's
much.
what like
basically.
He kind of was introduced at the last Avengers,
but
you finally
the
got to
final fight scene could not have been a more letdown for me.
A little bit.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
just
agree with
like
you on
let's
that.
dance, distract them, and then we all touch so we don't get blown up by the stone or whatever.
Right.
So
since no one can like harness it by themselves.
I still liked it a lot.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think if that was a better fight scene at the end, that would have elevated it top 10
definitely.
for me.
I mean, I think it would have brought it into my top 3 at that point then. But all right, Matt, what's number 5 on your list?
Number 5, Logan. The final Hugh Jackman role as Wolverine. It's based on another one of my favorite comic books called Old Man Logan. The movie is definitely not as good as the comic. It's not really their fault though, because as of right now, especially, the Marvel universe and the X-Men universe they're owned by different companies, so you couldn't really have a crossover, because in the comic book takes place in a future where pretty much all the superheroes are dead except for Logan, and he's kind of this like old, like it's almost like kung fu, like a guy wandering through the desert kind of on his own. And the movie, yeah, like I said, the movie it's not nearly as good as the comic book, but I still love to see like a rated R like Wolverine movie, because as a comic book reader, that's really what we strive for. We want to see him like slicing up people and cussing, and that's what really did it for me. The storyline wasn't that great, but I was still just so happy to see like Wolverine how I want to see Wolverine.
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman did a great job. You haven't seen it yet?
You haven't seen Logan?
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm a huge fan of Hugh Jackman. I think he does a great job as Wolverine, so I'll have to check that out.
And I like, it's gory. It's not the kids Marvel comic book movie,
which is good.
He's slicing up people left and right, and that's what did it for me.
Oh yeah, that's
all right, Chris. Brings us to your number 5. What's it gonna be?
My number 5 is Logan.
Wow.
Yeah. It made me kind of think. I wonder how close our list is going to be the rest of the way, but I hope not exactly the same. But
I think
I can tell you one thing for sure: my list will not be the same as you guys. So.
I mean, we're brothers. You know what I mean?
I feel like two of them are going to be in there.
Yeah, there's obviously one that's in there, but
yeah,
this should be in his too, or he's
I'm
nuts.
Sure it will be.
But Logan, I loved it. I think the cool thing about Deadpool is it opened the door for rated R comic book movies.
Yeah,
and
successful.
Yeah, I loved Logan. I actually did enjoy the story. I thought it was cool how, like, spoiler, whatever, Xavier got old and kind of lost touch with his powers and caused like the whole big the big catastrophe that happened. Excuse me. But then I really liked the villain in it too. I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either.
But also then the girl who I think is
X-23. Yeah.
And I kind of wish it wasn't so this is it for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, because this was finally what I wanted in a Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Well, that sounds a little disappointing. Just in the fact of Wolverine, we finally get a Wolverine movie that's really good, and it's going to be one of the last, if not the last.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, he does a lot of trolling. He's always, for the last couple of years, he's been trolling Hugh Jackman left and right, throughout tweets and memes and stuff, trying to get him to come back. I feel like maybe someday it could happen.
That'd be awesome. So. All right, so we're going to bring it to James. Where are we at? Number 4? All right, James, number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is definitely one that's been said already. So it's going to be another repeat, kind of. It's Captain America: Civil War. I really enjoyed the movie. I know I said that I enjoyed it before. The only real disappointment I had was that ending, well, not the ending fight scene, but that fight scene at the airport.
Yeah.
Was
Everything
just
else was so good.
Yeah, it was just a little disappointing for me. But like I said, as a whole, the movie was super good. I really enjoyed it. I won't touch on it too much just because we've already spoke on it. But yeah, that's my number 4. So Matt, let's bring it to you. What's number 4 on your list?
My number 4 is also kind of a repeat. It's Kick-Ass.
Wow, high on the list.
Yeah.
It's so good,
It's
dude.
good,
It's
dude.
so
But I don't know about
good.
number 4, man. Top 5.
Just, I don't know. It like you said, that one fight scene really does a lot for me too. Like, I don't know, just the way it was orchestrated, like the background music, I even loved it. Like, I don't know, I just watch it over and over again, and it's just cool because it's, you got people trying to be superheroes and stuff, and you got other people trying to be supervillains, and I don't know, it was a fun one for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no,
it.
I agree with you guys on that fight scene. One of the more iconic fight scenes for sure. Like you guys said, you can watch that fight scene and really enjoy it. But I just thought it was
Even when
it's really dumb at points, dude.
The girl playing Kick-Ass, or the girl playing Hit Girl, I think did awesome.
that's what I was gonna say, dude. When she busts in the first time, like Kick-Ass goes to the drug dealers, and he's like about to get like killed or whatever, and she busts in,
And
just
like
like
saves,
slicing
yeah.
people in
She
half,
saves
dude.
the
It's
day.
like actually when you first meet her, and she's like getting shot with a gun, so
Gun,
she
dude.
understands how.
Yeah.
And then when she's like. Nicolas Cage is like, what do you want for your birthday? And she's like, I want some kind of pony. And he just stares at her. She's like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. It's like,
This,
dude.
switch. She wanted like a switchblade. Or
Yeah,
like a
dude.
butterfly
It's
knife,
like,
yeah.
dude.
And then he's like, he shoots her,
Yeah,
and he's like, all right, let's go out for ice cream.
yeah dude. Like,
I don't know. It was a good.
It's a good
one.
movie.
It's
Yeah.
a good one.
and when Big Daddy goes to the warehouse,
Yeah, with the shotgun.
yeah,
just
dude, there's
mowing
so
them
many like action fight scenes in that movie that
Oh,
are
it's
just
majority
awesome.
action. I'd have to agree with that. I mean, there's a lot to that movie. I think like I said, I think it's good. I just don't know if I would have had it as high as you guys. But
down. I did kind of put it up there. I'll admit.
All right,
all
number
right, Chris.
number 4 for me is I did not put Civil War on my list. I do enjoy that movie a lot, but for my Captain America choice, I'm gonna go Winter Soldier.
It's another really.
It's a
I-
good one, man. It is a good one.
The storyline in that one I think is excellent. Just like there's so many scenes in that one that I enjoy so much. The elevator scene when they're all getting on and like Captain America knows what's happening. And he's like,
No, that's Civil War.
no, they're all getting on and he's like, all right, if you guys want to get off, now's your time.
That's Civil War.
I'm
No,
pretty sure
it's
it's Civil
not.
War, dude.
It's not. It's Winter Soldier. It's because he wouldn't give Robert Redford's character what Nick Fury told him when he met him at the
He
at the
might
house.
be right, actually.
Yeah.
I think he's right,
Yeah, he
actually.
might
Yeah.
be.
And then like
But-
I think they did a cooler job with
That scene was pretty
with
cool.
Yeah.
Bucky and Winter Soldier than
He
they
was
did.
good in both movies, I thought.
And
But
it's-
yeah,
Like when he's driving Nick Fury, and then you see the Winter Soldier for the first time, and he shoots that thing that goes under the car
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
blows it up.
Yeah, that's cool for
Like,
sure.
I love that movie.
he was good in both movies.
I did
say.
not like First Avengers at all with the Captain America one, the first one, but
Yeah.
really, really like Winter Soldier. So number 3 to James.
Alrighty, number 3 on my list. So bringing it to Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, the original, the first one. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure you could make an argument for the second one being better than the first one. I don't know if you could make the same argument for the third one being the best.
I'm
I
gonna
don't-
stick
I
with
don't-
number 1.
I don't know if people think that about the second either.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed Robert Downey Jr. in it. I
He's
think
phenomenal.
He's just like I said, like Matt just said, phenomenal as
If there's
Tony
anybody,
Stark. I don't think you could have picked a better
Yeah.
person, really.
like, I know you're not going to win an Academy Award for these types of movies for acting, but like,
There should be like
Robert
there should-
Downey
there should be an
Jr.
Oscar category where it's like kind of like action
Yeah.
movies because
Right.
I feel
He-
sorry for them.
He is Iron Man. No one else is Iron Man.
You really could do a draft and you could do any actor in the entire Hollywood system, and I don't think you could pick a better actor than Robert Downey Jr. to play
It's
that
funny
role.
that you said that he is Iron Man because I actually just read this article about a week ago about how Robert Downey Jr.'s improvisation of the last scene of that movie like changed the entire Marvel universe.
Which part? Oh,
When he says I am Iron Man, because I think
Oh,
because
okay.
originally because the article said that originally they were gonna like keep it a secret or something.
Really?
He was gonna kind of keep it like a secret identity kind of thing, but he just splouted out, "I am Iron Man," and then they decided, okay, we'll keep that in the storyline.
I think it was good.
But
It was definitely a good call. But
It's
yeah, just
so good. Like
it's super good. The way he plays Tony Stark in that movie, and
I love how it
action
shows
scenes are good in my opinion. I mean, it was good for the time that it came out. I think
for the time it came out, it was so good.
Yeah, I think it was really good.
I love seeing him like build the suit. I thought that was so cool when you saw like the hydraulics and like him, like, testing out his like arm cannon for the first time,
Right?
Flying around, like
you really get to see him become Iron Man, which is cool.
And then just the way he like kind of like walks down and the suit just kind of builds onto him was so cool to me. Like
right,
even the first half of the movie when he was building the suit in the cave,
right,
when he was trapped, like that was a cool storyline too, which followed the comic book perfectly.
It's weird to think that like Iron Man kicked off the whole Marvel thing, and it wouldn't be what it is without it. When that movie wouldn't even have made their top list, it's just they didn't own the rights to the other ones.
And seriously, in the comic books, Iron Man's not the most popular. I honestly thought when they kickstarted this, I thought for sure the first movie would be Captain America or something like a more iconic character, but he nailed it.
Yeah,
now he's running the show, man.
Yeah, and he's killing it. I think he's doing a great job. But all right, Matt, let's bring it to you. What's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list is The Dark Knight.
Good choice.
The second installment in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, which is by far better than any of them. The first one with like Michael Keaton was good, but Christopher Nolan, just as a director in general, is everything he touches is gold.
Yeah, he's awesome as a director.
Yeah,
I could do like a top 10 on Christopher Nolan movies.
Right.
And that movie was it was superbly done. I mean, of course, Heath Ledger as the Joker was amazing, but like it wasn't just that; it was the whole movie. Like the storyline was perfectly done. It was
phenomenal.
Just like a heist type movie, which are kind of a lot of my favorite type movies. When it came out, a lot of people compared it to the movie Heat, which is one of my favorite movies too, and I could definitely see the comparisons when I was watching that movie, and so good.
I loved it, start to finish. I think it's excellent. Starts out with the whole bank robbery scene. Heath Ledger is the Joker. Some people might not be a fan of it. I think he is the Joker.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
I think it's pretty clear at the end of The Dark Knight that he would have been in the third one, which is a shame because I don't really like the third one at all. But
Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent,
dude,
was really good.
Heath Ledger's Joker took over too. I mean, The Office even had like a little skit where like Dwight came in dressed up as the Joker.
Well, 3 of them did.
Yeah, and then they all got
Dwight,
pissed.
Kevin, and
Creed.
he
Yeah,
did the best one.
They were all mad that each other did it, but that Joker was phenomenal.
He definitely killed it as the Joker. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I actually read somewhere that he locked himself in a hotel room for a month.
Yeah,
to like prepare for the role. He like would
some people say that's what led to his death because
he would sit in the dark and
he was going on sleep deprivation.
Right, he wouldn't sleep. Yeah, just to get in the right mindset for the role. And if it is something that led to his death, I mean that's obviously tragic. But I mean I definitely think it
just shows his commitment.
Right,
he wanted to do it.
Commitment and made for an amazing role. Like I said,
every time he spoke in that movie, it was
just like how
amazing.
He licks his lips and
dude,
everything.
I think he's
his
funny at
and
times.
Just everything he does, man.
I read an article that the first scene that he recorded is the fundraiser scene where they come in and like he knew Maggie Gyllenhaal like pretty well from like Brokeback Mountain with her brother and stuff, and her and Michael Caine, right? They both like went on record saying like he like literally scared them when he came on for the first time, and I could see it like awesome
movie.
Every time he's on, he does a good job, and it's not just him. It's like Matt said, the whole movie plot and everything is really well done, and I love that movie.
I love when his like Batmobile breaks down and it like blows up into a little motorcycle and just spinning around. That scene was so cool.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
the amount of action in that movie is
when they're gonna blow up the hospital,
right?
He's got to go get him, and I like when Alfred's like, "You're gonna take the Batmobile in the middle of the day." No. Lamborghini. Much more subtle.
Yeah, right.
And then I like how Bruce Wayne blocks the one truck from hitting him, and they're like, "Thanks for saving us." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't know. I like Christopher Nolan. Everything about that movie I like.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
All right, Chris.
All right, my number 3 is probably one of the newest ones, if not the newest, if I'm correct, and it has to be Infinity Wars.
Yep.
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of either of the first 2 Avengers. For me, it was clunky trying to throw everyone in there. I kind of had my doubts about Infinity Wars, which might have helped my opinion on it, but the opening scene, it just grabbed me when Thanos is already on Thor's ship. There's a couple major deaths early on, which was kind of the thing that I personally feel is lacking in these types of movies.
Yeah,
because
I'd have to agree there.
You know what I mean? They're gonna die eventually.
Definitely darker than the other Marvel movies, which was so good.
Just having Winter Soldier as number 4, and I said I like Civil War quite a bit. I think the Russo brothers should be taking over Marvel as the bigger ones, because I think what they do is awesome.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
no, I'd agree.
It's so epic. It just like it spans all across the galaxy. There's a story going on Earth. There's a story going on this planet. There's a story
and the way
going
that
on.
Did it, like they did it so well.
They kind of mixed up the characters to have their own teams. Like Thor was with the Guardians.
Right.
And,
it could have gone.
It was like Doctor Strange and Iron Man together.
Yeah. They definitely took a risk on it, in my opinion.
And like you said, there's multiple storylines going on at once, while each storyline is intriguing enough. It wasn't like, oh, this one's up. Okay, well, let me know when Iron Man's back on.
Right.
Each storyline was critical to the plot and entertaining, and
it all like combined at the end because he finally got all his stones. And
dude, when Thor shows up at the end, like the movie theater I was in, everybody went nuts, and dude, like it was badass. Like I said, up until Thor Ragnarok, I didn't really like Thor, but now I'm behind him, and
Thor is a beast in that movie.
Yeah, dude.
Beast.
Bring me Thanos or whatever. Is like that whole fight scene was cool. Little less Captain America than I thought there'd be, but
that was really surprising to me. And he didn't even, and when you saw, and he wasn't even like in his suit or had his shield.
Yeah, no,
he wondered.
I feel like he didn't even talk much.
He really didn't, dude. That's one of those, like, honestly, where I was gonna say maybe like 10, 15 minutes of like him, but. And yeah, man, it was good.
The thing about that movie too, and I mean, I know it's Infinity Wars Part 1 and Part 2, which I think they jumped the gun on announcing that because it kind of took away from the ending. But spoiler: Thanos won, and that don't ever happen in these types of movies.
Oh, where the villain wins?
Yeah,
never.
And it's just like yes, like they got their asses kicked. Yep.
It'll be intriguing to see how they do it with like the way that they ended it, how they're gonna bring in the second one, or people gonna come back, whatever the case might be. Mm-hmm. It'll be cool to see.
It was awesome. I remember Matt saw it before me and then said it's good, and then I was like,
dude, we went and saw that twice right away, dude. Like, we went and saw it together, and then we had to go and see it again because we thought it was super good.
That movie is
there's not a lot of movies that I go to the movies twice to see. Yeah. Like I'll see it once and then I think Dark Knight I saw it more than once in the theaters. Infinity Wars, yeah, but it brought me back. It was really good.
Yeah. Love it. All right, so this is going to bring us to our top 2, and then we're going to be to James. I imagine some crossover is going to be coming here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My number 2 is Dark Knight, actually. Phenomenal movie. We obviously just touched on it. But like I was saying earlier, Heath Ledger as the Joker it's one of those, like, kind of like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He just played the role so perfectly, and it made the movie that much better. But again, I won't touch on it much. Let's get it right to Matt. What's your number 2, Matt?
Infinity Wars.
Really? Yeah. So I knew we'd have a lot of
It's definitely the best out of all the Marvel ones, and it was
by far.
It was done so well.
Agreed.
And yeah, I don't usually have such a desire. Like I'm so excited for the next one. I really have no idea where it's going to go. The comic book is definitely a lot different than the movie. So I couldn't say, like, oh yeah, I read the comic book, so I know what's going to happen in the next one. So
it's exciting.
It is exciting, and I'm sure they can do a good job. It's just I feel like it's gonna be like kind of how like they always say like in the Star Wars trilogy, the Empire Strikes Back was like the dark one where everyone's just at the end of it everyone's just kind of fucked, and you are always like anticipating seeing like how they're gonna pick up from there. Like these heroes are gonna have to like get back on their feet. They're gonna have to squander up like what little resources they have because they've lost like half of their team. They're gonna have to take on this god, and I don't know how they're gonna do it, but I seriously cannot wait. Like I want to go into hibernation or something
Yeah.
and be like, wake me up the night of the movie. So
Right.
because I'm
That's one of those movies I definitely want to see at the midnight showing.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it'll be
I'm
fun
too
to
old
see.
for that crap
No,
nowadays, dude.
no.
But I'll see it the Saturday it comes out.
But these days they don't even. These days like
You can
midnight
see it-
showings
sometimes
aren't
you-
even at midnight.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see it
I
like
went
11 or like
when I
7:30,
when
dude.
yeah
It's like,
when I saw it opening night the Thursday before it came out, it was like a 9:30 showing.
Well, I'll do that.
So yeah,
yeah, we
you
should
got
definitely-
it. You
we
got to
should-
do it.
We should definitely go.
I'm gonna
see
see
for
it
sure.
as soon as possible.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Number 2.
Number 2.
When we get to number 1s, I'm gonna guess your number 1s. Just gonna
Alright.
throw that out there now.
All right.
All right, number 2
You won't
is
guess mine.
what?
You won't guess mine.
Wonder if it's mine. All right, my number 1 is Batman.
Number two.
Yeah, number 2 is Batman: The Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, it could not make this list. Everything everybody said. I think Maggie Gyllenhaal actually was excellent in it as well.
Yeah, when I heard Katie Holmes wasn't coming back, first I thought she was stupid.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't had a career. Like before that, she hadn't done anything in years. But I guess her crazy husband told her not to.
Well, he wasn't making anything good at that time either.
But when I heard that she wasn't coming back, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Because I always kind of.
It bothers me when it's a different character.
No, I
Yeah.
agree when they change it halfway through or whatever the case is.
It just does.
Usually-
I know.
it
I don't know
ru-
why,
usually
but it
ruins
just
I don't
does. And so, yeah, you're like you said, like, she did really good.
She should have been in the first one.
Yeah.
She was a
With
much
how well
better
she did- with how
actress
she-
than
how well
Katie
she did in
Holmes.
the
Yeah.
second one. She definitely should have been in the first. But.
All right, so let's take it to James's number 1, and me and Matt are gonna guess it real quick. What do you think it is?
Oh,
I know what it is.
I can't think of. I can't.
Yeah, I don't think he's listed Infinity Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I have not listened to Infinity Wars.
There's
and
no
that-
way it doesn't make top 10.
And that is because it is number 1 on my list.
I did not pick up that you didn't say it yet.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it enough to put it number 1 on my list. I thought it was fantastic. I had the original Avengers pretty high on the list. So for this one to not be high on the list there's just no chance. All of the action, all of the
It's
things.
so action.
Yeah, all the action, all the things that everyone's already said. I mean, the storyline was fantastic. The just Thanos, I thought he was really good, and like Chris said, to see the villain win for once was really cool. And it wasn't like he just won; like he kicked their asses, which was really cool.
One thing I love about that movie too, it's like early on, but like Matt's talking about in the Iron Man movie, him making the suit, dude. Like how advanced his suit is in this one is awesome. I think.
Oh yeah,
the
he just,
definitely.
he just
nanotechnology.
touches
Yeah,
it
dude.
and then it just comes over him, and then he's
Yeah.
got the stuff that shoots out,
Right.
like the sides and shoots. Like
Yeah, no.
There's
It
that
was
one part when they're
phenomenally done.
fighting on Planet Titan, he like busts out these giant blades.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
No, it was super good. I had to put it number
again,
1
yeah,
on my
Robert
list.
Downey Jr. nailed it in that movie.
Yeah.
I loved it when Thanos like threw an entire planet at him, and just Iron Man's just like trying to dodge it and just kind of getting rocked, and he's just like, "You better not throw another planet at me." Like
Yeah.
you're pissing me off right now.
No, it was
Just part of Robert Downey Jr.'s, like I know it's in the script or whatever, but like how he executed it when Doctor Strange goes and finds him. He's just like, sorry, are you selling tickets to something or giving tickets away? Like, dude, just like he can do that. You know what I mean?
Right,
He's so good. He can make it super funny at times. He can get serious. And
Yeah.
he makes those movies,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, that's my number 1. Should we try and guess Matt's?
I don't know if I know it actually.
I was gonna say I don't think I know it, to be honest with you. He's got some
Deadpool.
I was gonna say maybe Deadpool because it hasn't been said, but that'd be pretty hard to put it on number 1.
It's not on my Deadpool is not on my list. My number
it?
1 is actually it's probably in my top 5 movies of like all movies. It's called The Crow. Kind of an older movie.
Okay.
I don't know
It,
if you've
makes
seen
the list, yeah.
It is based off a comic book. It's
Have you seen The Crow?
I don't think I have.
it's like an
What's it
early
about? Let's
'90s
hear it.
movie, so maybe you wouldn't have seen it.
It
But
can't rain all the time.
I think you should watch it. I think everyone should. It's this set in a really dark city. Basically, the whole movie. I think you only see the sunshine like once because it all takes place in like a dark city with raining when it's raining. But it's in like a really crime-ridden town. I think it's Detroit.
I think it's Seattle because it rains a lot.
I don't know. There's a part where they mention the Motor City, and I think isn't that Detroit?
That is definitely Detroit if they mention that. So.
But it's basically like totally crime ridden. Like the crime people, they run the town, and they spend all their time just playing around and just blowing stuff up and just being incredibly like terrible. But there's this couple, this guy and his girlfriend. They live in an apartment, and this one night, a Halloween night actually, I think, these 5 gangsters, they bust in, and they're really just playing around, thinking they're having a good old time, and they start beating up both of them. They like rape the girl, they kill her, they kill the boyfriend, and the premise is like when you die, there's a crow that takes your soul over to the land of the dead, and like this guy Eric Draven, he's so like heartbroken and like sad about like what happened to him and his girlfriend that he like the crow won't take his soul over. So a year later, the crow actually brings him back to life, and he's basically immortal, and he really only has one thing on his mind, and that's
Like revenge.
finding the 5 people that did this to him and like just messing him up. And it's like, I don't know, it's like I really love that premise. I love the way he looks in the movie. The whole movie looks really cool. He's got this crow following him. He paints his face up like a black and white clown. Like if you like the wrestler Sting,
Yeah.
he looks a lot like that. And
Okay.
that was one of the reasons I like Sting so much when I was watching wrestling. But it's so cool the way he just like exacts his revenge, and they're just like begging for mercy, and he's like, no, didn't give it to me.
Why would I give it to you?
And he just he takes them all out, and it's one of my top favorite movies of all time.
You should check it out if you've never seen it. It's like iconic because it's like Bruce Lee.
It's Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee.
He actually died making that movie.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They've made other movies in the Crow franchise, and I'd have to say those are like some of the worst movies ever made.
They're pretty bad. They're gonna do another reboot with what's his name, Momoa.
Momoa? I don't know that.
Khal Drogo, the guy that plays Aquaman. Something.
Oh,
Momoa.
that'd be cool. I don't know
how it'll work, but he kind of has the face for it. But
it's pretty
I'll have to check
dark.
it
Have
out.
you seen it?
I'll have to check it out.
The main villain, I saw that as like a kid, freaked me out with his weird girlfriend. Dude, she was weird. But I like The Crow. It didn't make my list, but I'm a huge fan of The Crow. What?
I didn't think it'll make a lot of people's lists.
It's a good movie.
I don't even know if a lot of people knew that it was a comic.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
Number one.
It's on your
Dark
list.
Knight.
Last one. Yeah, if it's not Dark Knight and it's not Infinity Wars.
My
Iron Man.
and my 2
Yeah.
switch day to day. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's just how I
He
feel.
doesn't pick the original Iron Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't have Iron Man on the list yet. Is it
Iron Man didn't make it.
You didn't put Iron Man, huh? I have no idea then. All right, let's hear it.
Batman Begins.
Really?
I love Batman Begins. And like I said just a little second ago, that one and Dark Knight, depending on how I'm feeling, my list might change from 3 to 10 as you go on, but 1 and 2, I think for a long time are going to be those 2 movies. But between those 2, each, like, you know what I mean? You ask me today, you ask me in a week, it might be reverse roles, but I love Batman Begins. I mean, when it came out, it was kind of like, there's a lot of origin stories. I wasn't super pumped for another origin story or whatever, but I thought Christopher Nolan did it extremely well.
I like seeing him like train at
the
temple.
It wasn't just like his parents died and then he's rich and it's that there.
Actually, that was only in it for like a second. It was more just like him,
Him kind of coming about.
Yeah, and then like the Ra's al Ghul helped him at the League of Shadows train, and like they even introduced the character Lucius, right? Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, I don't believe he's a part of any of the comics, but by Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan introducing him, it makes it a little bit more realistic as to how he gets this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, again, I wish it was Maggie Gyllenhaal instead of Katie Holmes, but Scarecrow was a cool villain to go with.
I'd agree. Who plays him?
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah,
he does actually a pretty good job.
He's actually like another one of those actors that it's like.
I wish he would have done more.
Yeah,
he could have had a better, like I don't know how to say a better career, but he could have had more movies for sure.
But Commissioner Gordon is just a detective when that movie starts. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's not the.
And that's another awesome guy, Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. I think the casting for that movie was spot on. I mean, any Christopher Nolan, you're gonna have a Michael Caine in there. So, but he did a good Alfred. I just really liked it. I liked how it it showed him like also having to like when Alfred's like you gotta act like Bruce Wayne at times too. So then he goes and buys the building. But I just think it's extremely well done movie. I think the fight scenes are cool too, and just everything about it. I immensely enjoy it.
Definitely a good movie. Definitely would say it's up there with Dark Knight. I mean, if I had to put it on my list, I didn't really think about it It'd probably be on my list, but
It's so good.
It's
And I will admit, I'm a huge Christian Bale Batman guy. I know a lot. That's another thing. Everyone wants to hate on Batman or whatever, hate on Affleck or whatever. But I like Christian Bale, and I think it makes sense that he talks different with the mask on. Otherwise, you're gonna understand his voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the first one to kind of introduce
Yeah.
that.
Like everybody hated on that, but if I'm wearing a mask and I'm talking to you, like when he's talking to Rachel Dawson,
how wouldn't you know who it is?
exactly. Like you're an idiot if you didn't pick up on that voice.
Right.
But it makes sense. I mean, when it's just him and Alfred and he's talking like
Yeah,
that, it doesn't
more-
make
right,
sense.
you're
But
right.
it's so good, so good.
One
And
of
then,
my favorite lines is when like he's like making his suit and stuff and getting all his gear started ready, and Alfred's like, "Why bats?" And he's like, "I fear bats. It's time I share my fear with everyone else."
dude, do you know Joffrey's in that movie?
No, I didn't.
Joffrey's the little kid that's like, my friends will never believe me.
Oh,
And then he
you're
throws
right.
him like a little
You're
piece.
right.
Yeah. Hate Joffrey.
That was him. That was him.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for our top 10 comic book movies. Let us know if there's a movie or two we missed on the list, or go ahead and check out a couple ones if you haven't seen them or heard of them before.
And feel free to check out our other podcasts. This is our third one we've done now. We'll have more content out for you guys soon. But have a great rest of your night, guys.
Take it easy.